After the sacred calabash oath was broken, peace did not return to Zazao. Saving Nafisa had come at a cost. The oath had been more than a tradition. It was the thread that held clans together, the symbol of trust between warriors, elders, and rulers. When Prince Sadiq chose love over that ancient promise, he did not just save a woman. He changed the balance of the kingdom. And now, the kingdom was divided. Some saw him as courageous, a leader who chose compassion over blind obedience. Others saw betrayal, a prince who had abandoned the very ancestors he was meant to honor. Though Nafisa was no longer imprisoned by suspicion, she was never truly free. The palace welcomed her presence, but not her belonging. Eyes followed her movements, whispers trailed her footsteps. The past was not forgotten. Beyond the palace walls, something darker was unfolding. The illness that had once struck the king had not disappeared. It lingered. His strength never fully returned, and soon others began to suffer the same mysterious weakness. Guards grew faint. Village leaders lost their vitality. The sickness spread quietly, without violence, yet with purpose. Nafisa recognized the signs. This was no natural disease, it was deliberate. Driven by a growing unease, she journeyed into the desert to seek answers among her own people, the tribe long cast out by Zazao. There, she uncovered a truth buried beneath generations of silence. Her people had not been exiled because they betrayed the kingdom. They had been banished because they possessed knowledge others feared. For centuries, they had guarded ancient remedies, wisdom that could heal or harm depending on the hands that wielded it. The kingdom, unable to control that power, chose instead to distance itself from it. Fear became judgment. Judgment became exile. But exile had changed them. The elders still believed in balance. They remembered their role as protectors. The younger ones did not. They remembered abandonment. And resentment had grown where wisdom once lived. Among them had risen a new voice, one who no longer spoke of justice, but of reclamation. He had released the illness not to destroy Zazao outright, but to remind it of what it had lost, to make it feel forgotten, to make it suffer. When Nafisa returned to the palace, she carried a heavy truth. The danger was not coming from strangers, it was coming from her own people. Stopping it meant standing against those who shared her blood. And Sadiq, already struggling to hold the trust of his kingdom, now faced a greater challenge, to unite a people who no longer trusted him, and protect them from a threat tied to the woman he loved. Together, they stepped forward, not as prince and outsider, but as leaders willing to face the past. They revealed the truth of the exile, how fear had driven division, how silence had allowed resentment to grow, and how misunderstanding had hardened into hatred. Faced with honesty rather than denial, many began to listen. The rebel voices, once strong in anger, faltered when confronted with truth. The illness was halted, not by force, but by cooperation. The same knowledge once feared became the means of healing, and slowly Zazao began to change. The old oath was gone, but something new emerged in its place, not a bond enforced by tradition, but one shaped by understanding. Sadiq had broken the promise meant to protect his kingdom. Yet in doing so, he helped it become stronger than it had ever been, because sometimes the courage to challenge the past is what allows a future to exist.